In the early 90s, the demand of oil and gas surged worldwide as many technologies are using oil as a new energy source. For more than a century, Santa Barbara's waters has been an attractive resource for the petroleum industry because of the abundance of oil in the sedimentary rock layers beneath the Santa Barbara's layers. Thus, the offshore drilling rig has been established in 1968, which located 10 kilometers from the coast of the Santa Barbara. It was operated by Unocal, which was then known as the Union Oil Company. On January 28, the tragic day for Union Oil Company and the residents of Santa Barbara, as a natural gas blowout fractured the ocean floor below a newly constructed offshore oil drilling platform. It was estimated about 80,000 barrels of crude oil were spewed out into the sea and the platform. The incidents were ranked as the largest oil spill in the US water at that time. For a few days, the spilled crude oil spreading along California coast, creating an oil slick, which then covers more than 90 square kilometers of the ocean. Starting on 4 February, the southerly wind drives the oil to the shore, which contaminates the beach and the marine animals and plants. It caused the initiation of oil pollution cleanup operation in the US. However, it was complicated as the weather is not very good due to the rainstorm and the rough wave.
Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Nabilah. So for my part, I'm going to talk about the cause for this tragic event. What happened was there was a blown out on a platform A. It happened during drilling the 5th well A21. The drilling final depth is 3,479 feet in only 14 days. Only the top 239 feet had been fitted with a steel conductor casing, and the rest was to be fitted with casing once the drill was out. After pull the drill bit out, there was an enormous spout of oil and gas. Drilling mud burst into the air into the rig, splattering the man with filth. All workers except for those engaged in the plugging attempt were evacuated due to the danger of explosion from the abundant natural gas blown from the hole. At the time, an offshore well should have been built with at least 300 feet of conductor casing as required by federal regulation, as well as approximately 870 feet of a secondary inner steel tube known as the surface casing. Both of these protective casing were intended to prevent blowout of high-pressure gas out of the side of the wellbore into and through adjacent geologic formation. Since there was no casing below 238 feet sufficient to stop the immense pressure of gas at well A21, once the well was plugged at the rig, the oil and gas left the wellbore, ripping right through the soft sandstone on the floor of the Santa Barbara Channel, spewing a huge amount of oil and gas all the way to the water surface, where a thick bubbling oil slick quickly began to grow and spread. It was described at the moment the sea is boiling.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohamad Haiqal bin Ezani. So from our research, we could see that the impact of this catastrophic event of Santa Barbara oil spill is unimaginable. First of all, it is clearly visible that the oil spill has impacted the economic activities of the coastal area of the Santa Barbara. This is because the coastal area of the beach rely heavily on the tourism and their outdoor activities like swimming, diving, and many other activities. And because of this oil spill, the beach has been forced to close, and due to the closure of the beach, the businesses around the beach are heavily impacted, like the hotels and restaurants. Other than the economic activities being affected by this oil spill, the environment also tremendously or heavily affected by this spill. The effects could be short-term or long-term on the animals or marine life. It may cause drastic changes in the animal or the plant in terms of their behavioral, their feeding or their growth and their reproductive activities. And as we could see that creatures are the mostly affected, followed by birds and fishes of the coastal area. And finally, the fishing industry is also one of the most heavily affected by this disaster. This is because due to the oil spill, the seafood like fishes are heavily contaminated, and due to this contamination of the seafood, fishermen cannot do their business as they are banned from selling the contaminated seafood to the consumers, not only because the contaminated seafood have bad taste and odor, but it may affect the consumer's health.
So I will explaining about the legal action and loss due to Santa Barbara oil spill. As we can see here, tourism was diminished by $930,000, while the city of Carpinteria lost up to $300,000. We also can see here that state beach sales has been decreased by estimated 15% or equivalent to $20,000. Specifically, there were a reduction in attendance at the three state beach in Ventura County, varying from 16 to 14%. California Union Oil Company has reported nearly $5 million in spending for these clean-up operations. The legal action for this incident, the blowout of well number 402821 of Union Oil Company in the Santa Barbara Channel has led a legal actions. The state of California is plaintiff in two liability cases, one against the operation involved and another one is against the United States. Many groups of private citizens such as boat owners, fishermen, and businessmen are also filed claims for damage arising from the blowout and the subsequent sequestration. Additionally, there are many suits alleging injustice against the development and production of offshore oil. The state also acts as an amicus curiae in this case that may also compel the Corps of Engineers and U.S. Army to hold hearings and environmental consideration in the positioning of drilling rigs as mandated by the Corps regulations. The state is also served as a counsel for the Santa Barbara County District Attorney, who has offshore oil operations against 4 designated oil firms or their suppliers. The federal government permits drilling activities on its properties, some of which are adjacent to the state property. The Interior Secretary has suspended service on 35 leases, awaiting congressional legislation to revoke those lists and establish a national energy reserve adjacent to the Santa Barbara sector of the state. The Secretary has also denied permits on each of Union and Sun oil leases for an additional drilling and production platform. Oil can be drained from state lease as a result of continuous drilling on the federal lease, and some leaseholders are inquiring revenue loss due to the state moratorium. At least one has indicated that legal action may be taken against the state to recoup these alleged losses.